All right, it is 2 o'clock. Thank you all for jumping on and joining us for our second Big I Lead webinar. This month, we are extremely excited to have Kristen Gabaldon from New Mexico Mutual. This month, we are focusing on leadership. And so she has a great presentation to give us. As always, it's going to be recorded and made available to everyone. So spread the word after you finish the program. Let people know that it's out there and it's on our website. We will have a opportunity to ask questions at the end, but if anything comes up during the presentation, just go ahead and type a question in the chat. And myself, Kristen, or Cynthia will be watching that and try to help you out during that time. So first, I'd like to really thank New Mexico Mutual as our big main sponsor for Big I Lead. We can't do a lot of what we do without them and all of our great supporters in the industry. So we are very excited. I'm excited and ready to hand it over to Kristen Gabaldon to give her presentation.
Thanks, Matt. Welcome, everyone. I'm Kristen Gabaldon, and I'll be presenting today's topic, as Matt said. Wanted to take a few minutes to just share a little bit about myself. I've been with New Mexico Mutual for about 11 years now. I started my career in insurance back in the early 2000s as a P&C agent for USAA out of Phoenix. I started my career with New Mexico Mutual as an associate underwriter, worked my way up to a lead underwriter and the intern coordinator for a few years, and I'm now a supervisor of the small business unit. I'm super excited to be here today and to have the opportunity to talk about adapting to the changing workforce in the insurance industry in New Mexico, specifically focusing on how some of these changes evolve quickly and how New Mexico Mutual has responded. When we talk about labor behavior, what we're experiencing in New Mexico are both structural for long-term as well as short-term with varying trends. I'll start by grounding us in the external workforce environment that has impacted the insurance industry, and then walk through the internal talent decisions that we've made here at New Mexico Mutual, which includes a strong focus on internships, training enhancements, early career development, and embracing innovation. Before we get into how New Mexico Mutual adapted to the workforce shifts and trends, I'll spend a few moments discussing how these trends have shaped today's labor market, and in particular, how they have affected the insurance industry. Starting with the long-term backdrop, labor force participation in New Mexico has stayed well below the US average. What that simply means is that fewer people are available or actively looking for work. Next, when you look at the underutilization factor, you get a fuller picture than unemployment alone. You see underemployment and people who are attached to the workforce, but they're not using the available resources to their fullest potential. And then we've experienced working age residents leaving New Mexico, especially between the ages of 25 to 54, which is the mid-career group that we often rely on for experience and stability. So when it shrinks, our hiring gets harder. The workforce is also aging with increasing retirements, which has had a big impact on us here in the insurance industry. Finally, persistent skills and education gaps make it harder to fill technical roles and roles with strong documentation and compliance requirements. This is also compounded by a general lack of knowledge of the insurance industry by our younger adults. So we've seen these trends for some time, and these are considered the more structural or long-term trends, and they don't move overnight. Now, on top of these longer-term forces, over the last few years, we've seen faster moving shifts in the labor behavior. And you've probably all heard the phrases, the great resignation, the big quit, or the great reshuffle, which began in the early 2021 period during the COVID-19 pandemic. During this time, we saw a spike in voluntary quits driven by economic, social, and personal factors. And with that came a reset in what people expected from their employers. They wanted more flexibility, balance, and a stronger employee experience. We soon shifted to the quiet quitting, which is described as distinct behavior where workers stay in their jobs, but they do the minimum required of them, often in response to burnout or job dissatisfaction. And currently, we're experiencing the big stay, which is the opposite of the great resignation, where people remain in their jobs because hiring has slowed with fewer job openings, the economic changes are occurring, and there's a fear of layoffs. These faster moving shifts are accompanied by graduates entering the workforce at scale. The social style trends of the current workforce are evolving, and workers are very clear about what they want from their employers. They want a clear purpose, mental health support, and a work-life balance. So if we want to attract and keep talent, we can't rely on the same recruiting and onboarding playbook we used 10 years ago. These ever-changing signals are part of why New Mexico Mutual focused our response on levers we can actually control, like building a stronger early career pipeline, making ramp up faster and more satisfying once people join, and embracing innovation. After New Mexico Mutual analyzed the talent pool and workforce trends related to insurance roles in our state, we implemented a program built on 3 levers: early pipeline access, faster ramp up, and embracing innovation. Here's the response in 1 sentence. We bring people into the pipeline earlier, and we help them get confident faster once they're here with the use of modern tools and smarter processes that reduce friction. The earlier piece is the internship program, making insurance real, building awareness, and identifying talent before graduation. The faster piece is modernizing onboarding and training so new hires can apply learning quickly, leveraging new tools, and starting to contribute sooner. The innovation piece is how we embrace new tools and ideas that remove friction. We streamlined workflows, improved communication, and boosting productivity with this use, so teams can spend more time on high-value work. As we go through the next slides, I'll keep tying everything back to the 3 outcomes: a stronger entry-level pipeline, faster time to proficiency, and better retention. A big barrier that we've seen in insurance is awareness. Many students and early career candidates don't have a clear picture of what insurance work looks like in the day-to-day office. And the complexity of all lines of insurance is often completely unfamiliar. Internships solve that in a practical way. They give candidates a low-risk, structured experience where they can see the work up close, learn how the industry operates, and decide if it's a fit. It also opens opportunities to enlighten individuals on their perception of insurance and provides an understanding that insurance is there to help people. At the same time, we get to assess talent in a real environment instead of relying only on resumes and interviews. So internships aren't just nice to have, they're a way to build understanding, build interest, and build a realistic pathway into the industry. This slide is an overview of how New Mexico Mutual designed our internship program so it actually feeds the pipeline. First, it's intentionally cross-functional. We place interns in areas like underwriting, innovation, and analytics and claims, and we add other areas as business needs come up. That matters because insurance isn't one job. It's a set of connected jobs, and interns often don't know what path fits them until they see it. Second, we focus recruiting where the New Mexico talent is. We show up at local college job fairs, especially UNM and NMSU, because we want a homegrown pipeline and we want students to see insurance as a real option before they commit to a different industry. Third, once interns are here, we give them an overview of other departments. The goal is to make the organization understandable who does what, how work flows, and where the intern role fits in the bigger picture. And finally, we're deliberate about translating classroom learning into business operations. So instead of just saying, here's what underwriting is, we connect concepts to actual underwriting and performance. Policies, renewals, documentation, timelines, handoffs, and quality expectations. By the end of the internship, we want interns to be able to explain the work clearly, describe the skills that matter, and picture themselves in the role. That's what increases conversion to strong entry-level hires. We also encourage applicants with all educational backgrounds to apply, as insurance does not require a focused background. Degrees in varying backgrounds can lend to an understanding of claims, innovation, IT, on and on. We also encourage applicants to apply for entry-level positions if they're graduating soon, bypassing the internship program altogether. And I'm excited to share that we have recently expanded our internship program by building partnerships with the agency side through intern swaps. This opportunity gives interns a fuller picture of the insurance ecosystem, how agency and carrier roles fit together, and it creates development opportunities on both sides. And if anyone is interested in this opportunity, we would be happy to connect with you after the presentation. Here at New Mexico Mutual, underwriting is a strong internship anchor because it touches almost everything. So we design the experience to build both context and capability. We start with the full policy life cycle, end to end, so interns understand the sequence, not just the tasks. What triggers a policy? What information matters? Where do decisions get made? What happens at renewal? That end-to-end view helps interns avoid the I'm doing the work, but I don't know why problem. Then we add targeted shadowing. This is where it clicks that underwriting doesn't operate alone. Interns can see how underwriting decisions connect to claims outcomes, how analytics supports decisions, and how agency relationships influence what information comes in and how quickly. Shadowing also helps interns learn how experienced employees think, not just what they do. We also put a real emphasis on professionalism, business etiquette, professional dress, and professional communication. For many interns, this is the first time working in a regulated environment where tone, clarity, and responsiveness matter. Those habits, like how to write an email, how to ask questions, how to document your work, translate directly into performance later. And finally, we make it hands-on. Interns service policies and they review renewals so that they can practice risk analysis in real scenarios. They learn what good documentation looks like. They learn how to organize information, and they start building judgment with support. For candidates with limited job experience, that combination of structure, exposure, and practical application is what makes the internship a true pipeline and not just a temporary job. When we talk about impact, I like to separate it into pipeline impact and hiring outcomes because both of them matter. On the pipeline side, the biggest win is awareness. Interns leave understanding what insurance is, what a carrier does day to day, and what types of roles exist. And that sounds simple, but in a market where fewer people are naturally flowing into insurance, awareness is a real constraint. Next is repeatability. This isn't a one-time program. It's a model that we can run each semester. We source talent, give them structured exposure, and then convert the strongest fits into entry-level roles. And we've seen that conversion here at New Mexico Mutual in roles like underwriting and our claims department, audit department, and innovation. The practical advantage here is that we're not just filling openings, we're building people with context, relationships, and realistic expectations about the work. There's also an employer brand effect. Showing up consistently at UNM and NMSU and running a strong intern experience positions New Mexico Mutual as an early career destination. It signals that we're willing to invest, train, and develop, not just hire. And I'm also proud to mention that we have helped create more awareness and job opportunities in the industry by investing in a certification program with CNM and supporting NMSU's risk management program within the college. These endeavors have a broader ecosystem impact because even when an intern doesn't join New Mexico Mutual, they leave here with a clear career option, including agency side paths. Over time, that helps expand the overall insurance talent pool in New Mexico. So the payoff is direct hires plus a stronger long-term pipeline for the industry. This slide is here to explain why we changed the way we onboard and train. Not because the fundamentals changed, but because learner expectations did. Newer generations are used to technology that removes friction. If you don't know something, you search it. If you need a quick how-to, you watch it. And work gets broken into smaller tasks with faster feedback. When people come into the workplace, they bring their own style of learning with them. And we found that long blocks of training with limited practice and delayed feedback can feel slow and disconnected, even if the content is interesting and engaging. Our adjustment was made to make learning feel more adaptable with shorter segments, with a clearer structure and faster application. The goal is not to lower standards, but to reduce early confusion and accelerate confidence. When new hires feel capable earlier, they engage more. They ask better questions, and they're less likely to disengage or leave during that early critical window. This slide is the how. We here at New Mexico Mutual redesigned our training so that it is shorter, more structured, and integrated with the work. The first change is the format. Instead of long classroom days where information piles up, we deliver content in 30-minute modules. That forces clarity. Each module has a defined objective, a limited scope, and a clear takeaway. Second, we reinforce immediately with shadowing. Right after a module, trainees sit with experienced team members and they see the concept in action. That's the bridge from theory to practice. It also gives trainees a safe place to ask basic questions in context. Third, we use worksheets to make learning active. Trainees capture key steps, definitions, decision points, and examples in their own words. This gives the trainers a way to see how the trainee is thinking. And fourth, each segment ends with a quick assessment. This isn't about pressure or grades, it's the feedback loop. It tells the trainer what's landing, where people are stuck, and what needs to be reinforced before the next segment. When you put all these pieces together, module, shadowing, worksheet, checks, you get a repeatable learning cycle. It creates consistency across trainees, reduces the variability of who you happen to sit next to, And it speeds up confidence because practice happens immediately, not weeks later. Here's what we saw after the revamp. The headline says it all: faster to proficiency. We shortened the training timeline from 90 days to 60 days. So we're getting people contributing meaningfully about a month earlier. This also alleviates workload on the highly experienced individuals who do the training. A second result is what we call innovation. Alongside the training redesign, we reduce the amount of repetitive, low-value admin work new hires get stuck with by automating these tasks and utilizing AI. The goal is to remove the mundane tasks that don't build judgment, so new hires spend more time practicing the work that actually matters, like decision-making, documentation quality, and customer agency responsiveness, which lends to service excellence. From an operations standpoint, this matters in two ways. First, teams feel the capacity sooner because new hires can start taking on real work earlier. And second, new hires feel less overwhelmed because they can see progress and they get faster feedback on what they're doing well. If someone asks what specifically drove the improvement, I can come back to three drivers: structure with clear modules, application, shadowing right away, and feedback, assessment, and trainer visibility. This slide focuses on retention mechanism, why shortening training can actually help people stay. First is ownership. When someone can contribute sooner, even in a limited way, they feel like they belong. They're not watching from the sidelines. They're a part of the team. Second is confidence. Early contribution creates proof for the new hire that they can do the work. That confidence changes behavior. People ask questions earlier. They take initiative. They stop second guessing every decision. And third is momentum and satisfaction. When training is broken into clear steps and each step has practice built in, people can feel progress week to week. That's especially important for early career hires. If the first 30 to 60 days feel like a blur, or if success criteria is unclear, that's when frustration grows. And that leads to the last point: clear ramp expectations. We use the ramp to make good visible at 30, 60, and 90 days. It helps managers coach consistently, and it helps employees self-correct without feeling like they're failing. The overall message is we're not trying to rush people. We're trying to remove avoidable friction, make progress visible, and create a supported ramp. Those are the conditions that improve retention. Retention isn't only about the first 60 days, though. People stay engaged when they can see growth and when they believe that the path is real for them. So we treat progression as an ongoing part of the employee experience, not a one-time event. Essentially, we make career paths visible with role levels, skills expectations, and examples of what ready for the next level looks like. We also keep growth accessible through internal postings, cross-training, and stretch assignments so employees can build the experience they need, not just wait for a title change. Just as important, promotion readiness is supported through regular development conversations by providing clear feedback, coaching, and checkpoints so people know what to build next and can track their progress. When employees can connect today's work to what's next and see what effort leads to expanded scope and appropriate compensation growth, they're more likely to invest, build capability, and stay. This sets up the next slide because one of the best ways to make development actionable is to align opportunities to a person's strengths. Another retention lever is strengths-based development. We use tools like StrengthsFinder to understand what motivates someone and what kind of work they naturally do well. Managers use this information to develop immediate and long-term goals that connect strengths to real opportunities, such as projects, coaching, stretch assignments, and learning goals. It's a win-win. The employee gets work that fits and a clearer development path, and the organization gets stronger performance and higher engagement. Here are a few quick examples of what strengths-based looks like in real work. If someone has strong analysis skills, they may thrive on analytical projects, underwriting support, data-driven improvements. If someone is relationship-oriented, they may be great at agency partner communication and coordinating service. And if someone is naturally a mentor, they can add a lot of value through buddy programs, peer coaching, and onboarding support. The goal is to place people where they can contribute confidently and keep growing. To sustain engagement, we pair consistent manager cadence with real learning investment. Managers do bi-weekly check-ins, so feedback and support are frequent and actionable. We also set personal development goals and annual growth goals so people can track progress over time. On the skills side, we support industry designations like CPCU and ARM to deepen technical knowledge and credibility. We run on-site trainings, which we refer to as lunch and learns, and we go over topics like service excellence, generational differences, refresher courses in Excel, OneNote, it goes on. And we have videos and how-to resources readily available to our team to enhance their skill sets across the board. The theme here is accessibility, make learning easy to start, easy to continue, and clearly connected to career growth. Beyond the internship program, training enhancement, engagement cadence, and learning investments, we have made additional adaptations to keep up with the changing work environment and the expectations of newer talent. First, we adopted AI to automate redundant, repetitive tasks. The intent isn't to replace judgment-based work, it's to reduce the low-value steps that slow people down and are often the least engaging for new hires. This frees up capacity and helps the work feel modern and meaningful. Second, we shifted from a direct one-to-one model to a team approach, which has improved our turnaround times and consistency and has reduced bottlenecks when one person is out or overloaded, while still protecting in-person interactions where that matters most, like relationship building, conversations, and complex issue resolution. And third, we reinforced all of this with a focus on service excellence. As we streamline the how of work, we keep the why front and center. Responsiveness, clarity, and a strong experience for our policyholders and agency partners are foremost. To wrap up today's presentation, the takeaway is that by adapting to workforce shifts early and proactively, we strengthened our talent pipeline and reinforced New Mexico Mutual's employer brand. This slide summarizes the combined approach we took. First, internships bring people into the pipeline earlier by building awareness and giving candidates real exposure to insurance careers. Second, we updated onboarding and training to shorten time to proficiency so new hires contribute sooner, and we pair that with clear growth expectations so employees can see what good looks like and what's next. Third, we've built an innovative culture that keeps the work sustainable by implementing better tools and streamlined workflows that reduce low-value tasks, improve turnaround, and protect time for the high-value, relationship-based work that matters most with policyholders and agency partners. And finally, we've seen external validation of our culture, with New Mexico Mutual being recognized as one of the state's top workplaces for the past 6 years. This is based on the 2020-2025 Intergage survey results published by the Albuquerque Journal. I thank you for the time for this presentation, and I'll pause here for questions.
Thank you, Kristen, for the presentation. I was curious. I do know, New Mexico's population always stays, it's been very stagnant over the last several years. I know that can be a big concern in our industry, especially with the number of people set to retire in the next 10 to 12 years. Um, and really, this is less of a question, more of a statement for our industry. I think we do need leaderships that are looking to grow the industry across the board within agencies, within carriers. And I think there were some good things to take out of this presentation today of how we can start doing that and start looking to bring young people in. It's a great career that nobody knows about. And so it's leadership that needs to bring those people in and show them what makes it great. And obviously New Mexico Mutual does that. I know a lot of our agencies do that. A lot of the carriers do that, especially in New Mexico. And I just appreciate the presentation and the points you made that kind of speak to that, because there are some very big concerns coming up in the next few years. Number one, with AI coming in to fill some voids, and then the massive number of people that will most likely be retiring in the next decade.
Yeah, what we find, and Cynthia, you can also add to this, is AI, it doesn't replace the worker. It allows us to focus on what matters most. And so the benefits is being able to train employees to really focus on the service excellence aspect of working with our stakeholders. And that goes across the board. I mean, that goes through the agency partners as well. If we can utilize that in a positive way, and then really just spend our time in helping the policyholders to understand the insurance needs and such, we've really seen the benefit of that. The other side is the awareness aspect of it. I worked in the internship program for quite a few years, and it is very true that our younger generation and the students in the colleges, they don't understand what insurance is. And so I really feel like, we've made an impact in that by going to the job fairs. And I think we can do that at the agency level too, in the high schools. We can bring that awareness to those job fairs and let them know what it's all about, because it often kind of ends at paying insurance for auto, and maybe that's not the positive side of it, because it's so much broader than that. We all know that here, but bringing that awareness to people is really important, and we've been successful with that. We really have, with our endeavors of going out to the job fairs and such. So and again, we talk about it very broadly, because there's a lot of opportunity in the insurance industry, not just on the carrier side. So yeah, there's some, I'm hoping that the takeaway on this will give some people some ideas on how to go about some of the things that we did that can be positive for your agencies.
Definitely. So Are there any other questions out there? All right. I'm not seeing any. So thank you all so much again for jumping on our second Big I Lead webinar. We will have another one in May. At the moment, it is going to be a webinar on work-life balance and the importance of it to avoid burnout and things of that nature. So we are the third Thursday of every month, so be watching for that. And then in June, we are going to be doing a live Big I Leads set up in Albuquerque that we'll have a chance at going to an Isotopes game, and then on Thursday we'll do some in-person webinars. And if you can't make it, or in-person seminars, and if you can't make it, they will still be recorded and be on the webinar. So be looking for those emails. Thank you all so much. And again, spread the word. These webinars are going to be on the website, so people can go back and watch and gather good information as we move those along. So thank you so much, New Mexico Mutual. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thanks for having us.
And if there is nothing else, then we will see you all next time. Have a good rest of the week.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Matt.